Be honest, is Jeremiah doing the tongue thing behind me right now? Because he better not.
Did I just see you do the tongue thing?
No.
Can I do my intro like Ian Sterling? Tonight. That's kind of all I got. Hello, class. It's time to talk about one of my newest and oldest loves, Love Island. I love Love Island. I love how whether someone makes a good breakfast for you every day is a major source of drama on the show.
And this morning, he gave her 2 pancakes and gave me 1. Gave her a flower and gave me none. So I'm
I love how, despite having the budget for Megan Thee Stallion, they still have the Islanders wear a giant Velcro strap and a huge lob necklace as a microphone, which I am trying to pay homage to today, as you can see. Honestly, I just like knowing that for 6 weeks of the summer, I can look forward to silly drama from the influencer Sims we dropped off in the middle of Fiji, plus After Sun, which delivers about 5 minutes of interesting content, but is somehow always an hour long.
I never said I was perfect. I never said I didn't have any flaws, but at least I'm pretty, and at least I'm a little funny, and at least I'm my own best friend.
Me and Love Island go way back. I first started watching the UK version back in 2016 with Love Island UK Season 2, which, let me just tell you now, that is not a season for the weak. You think this show has some ethical problems now? Back in 2016, people were getting into physical fights with the bombshells.
Shut up, you dick!
One couple hooked up in front of everyone else on top of their sheets because they believed that Love Island wouldn't show it if they were just fully exposed on camera, only for it to be a whole dedicated segment on the show that people still talk about to this day.
I feel like they blocked us out. Like they had blinkers on like horses do and they just carried on.
One woman, Miss GB, lost her crown as Miss Great Britain just because she hooked up on the show. Honestly, kind of a horror show in retrospect. But in between all of that, you got to watch just a bunch of young, hot people hang out by the pool, do silly challenges that truly do not matter, and be so incredibly British. Even though Love Island is certainly produced, I don't want to pretend it's not. Because you're watching these people find love every day, basically in real time, it manages to feel so much more authentic. Yes, you get those typical rom-com dates, relationship drama, but my favorite part of the show is honestly just the casual conversations that happen between the Islanders.
What do you think about Brexit?
What's that? Like
Where we're leaving the European Union.
So does that mean we won't have any trees?
Cheese?
Trees?
Oh. No, that's got nothing to do with it, babe. That's weather.
We have trees.
These people are alone for 6 weeks with no phones, no TV, no books. They don't even know what time it is. And most of their day is just sitting around, but never getting into a pool. And that is when you get the hard-hitting political and educational conversations like this.
So I'm from Liverpool, so I live in a country.
No, Liverpool's a city.
A city?
Yeah.
If you go on a plane and go to another place, that's still United Kingdom, isn't
Depends
it?
where. Where do you want to go?
So Spain.
That's not
No,
United
that's
Kingdom.
Europe.
I just know that these women know a piece that I never will, and honestly, I'm jealous. I also watched the UK season 3 and 4 back in the day, and even though I loved the show, eventually I just got way too busy with school and that brief period of time where I had a real job. Suddenly watching 5 to 8 hours of reality content a week became just a little bit too much. The simple joys that capitalism takes from us all, really. But then, in 2019, Love Island finally came to the US. And even if I had time then to watch it, I was not even remotely interested. Okay, maybe it's not essential to the format of the show, but if everyone isn't calling women birds, what's the point? And for a while, that was kind of all I heard about Love Island USA, that it was just the weaker version of Love Island UK that took place on the roof of Caesar's Palace. I just never really gave it a chance. That is, of course, until PPG entered the villa.
You made your choice. You made your bed. Hump in it.
I have said it once, I will say it again. Season 6 of Love Island USA may just be one of the most iconic pieces of reality television ever. It's just the perfect show. Except for the 4th of July food challenge. I don't want to talk about the 4th of July food challenge. There are just so many iconic moments from that season, I don't even know where to begin.
Study player.
No, listen.
Because I will go study some stupid ass plants.
No.
But I like plants. They're not stupid.
And after such a good season, I knew I couldn't miss out on watching season 7 live with everyone else this year. And it was, not as good. Okay, just to prepare you now, I am going to complain about this show, but I still can't be that much of a hater. It is still one of my favorite silly escapist dating shows.
I'm a mommy.
Mommy?
I'm a mom.
Mamacita.
No, I'm a mommy.
A mom of what? A dog?
I didn't think I'd be rooting for a man with the Joker tattoo who appears to exclusively be interested in women with level 8 bleach and tone, but here we are. As you can tell, I've been very dedicated this summer to watching Love Island USA 6 days a week. But did you know that it is near impossible to watch this show outside the US? One of my other friends who was watching this summer went to Europe. I know, rich. Come to find out, she couldn't keep up with the rest of us. And as we all know, a week in Love Island USA might as well be 7 years in normal time. That is where today's sponsor, NordVPN, comes in handy. Not only is it a great way to watch your favorite content, no matter where you are in the world, it is also a great way to keep all of your data safe. If you're on any Wi-Fi network, especially a free Wi-Fi network, criminals can easily take your data and sell it to the highest bidder. But NordVPN encrypts your data, keeping it all away from the freaks who want to harvest it. You can also stay safe from phishing, scams, and malware using their Threat Protection Pro. NordVPN is recognized by leading security labs, and their Threat Protection Pro has undergone multiple independent security tests, ensuring your online information is as safe as possible. I'm happy to announce that NordVPN is offering an exclusive deal for all of y'all, where you get 4 months extra using my code Ashley Norton at the link in the description. And it's all risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you again to NordVPN for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to the program. These hot people were stressing about bombshells, and they had no idea that America bombed Iran. They played the tackiest soul covers of every song imaginable, even the theme song from the 90s propaganda reality show Cops.
Go with your gut.
I'm not kidding, when that music started, it actually made me jump. Episode 12, when Ariana tells the Islanders that they need to vote off one of their own, the star of this season was born.
I just want to say...
The people's princess, Amaya Papaya.
I laugh a lot. I laugh when I think things are funny.
Let me tell you, Amaya Papaya, she may have won this season, but she was wasted. Her talent was wasted with some of these men on the season.
You're an extremely odd individual, and I do not want to talk to you ever again.
It's fine. It's for
Gosh.
speaking.
And I actually need to talk about it at length. Amaya came in as a bombshell on day 4 of the series and immediately got into hot water because she kissed a guy during the Make Out with People game on the dating show.
Of course, Amaya picks Jeremiah to be her 4th base.
Truly, is there no decorum these days? Nevertheless, she persisted, and OG Islander Ace picked her to couple up with.
No.
You kept on making it a broad statement.
You're not gonna cut me
You
off.
kept on making it a broad statement.
Only to immediately go, hey, so just so you know, I don't like you like that. Actually, stay away from me. Don't touch me. Don't call me babe. And yes, I will be pursuing Shelly, even though I could have just picked her to couple up with instead of you.
Or even cuddling. I mean, especially it's my first night getting to know you.
Yeah, I'm not like that, so you have nothing to worry about that.
Okay.
Listen, no one, certainly not me, would expect couples on day 4 of the show to be super closed off or lovey-dovey yet. And believe it or not, you can have boundaries and express them. But Ace spoke with such open contempt towards the girl that, again, he chose to be in a couple with.
But the names, the
fine.
touchy, like you're very quick to respond. You know that?
Meanwhile, he's like fully licking whipped cream off Shelly's tit, but he doesn't like to be touchy, guys. Stay away.
You don't want to be coupled up with someone that's actively letting another man lick cream off her tits, do you know what I mean?
I guess we shouldn't be surprised that the guy with the permanent name tag on his back has a bit of an ego and likes to play games, but there you go. Somehow, some way, I expected more from the TikTok live dancing guy.
Babar, stop digging in your butt. I'm not gonna tell you again.
A genuine scandal this season was how Amaya calls everyone babe.
Time out. When you saying, babe, can I grab this for you? Babe, can I do this? Are you coming at it very, very strongly off the rip?
But she says babe the way like the receptionist at your dentist's office calls you hun, or the way I call everyone dude and girl regardless of their gender. It's not some big romantic gesture when she's just saying it in passing. She's not asking for their hand in marriage when she's saying it.
Okay, that's fine. We'll talk, babe. Oh, sir.
But no, she's a witch, a temptress, and Ace needs to immediately turn all of the other men in the villa against Amaya because she dared to kind of eat him up and call him sir.
I had the opportunity to choose somebody. I could have chosen any one of the people who I've had more conversations with.
But that's okay, she can move on with Austin. Honestly, even though I was not a fan of Austin this season, initially, it at least seemed like he was willing to match her freak a little bit.
I think it was a little chill day. You know?
Today was a great day.
They're both silly. They like to shake in the mornings.
Shaking out the bad energy.
Yeah.
And he said that he wanted a girl who was all about him, which is just Amaya to a T.
I definitely feel with Amaya, it's a lot more intentional on her end, like all about me. That's like a nice thing to feel.
Well, when he said he wanted a girl who was all about him, I guess he didn't mean it like that.
Bro, she was super intense during that challenge. Like we're next to each other and she's like...
And again, if these two didn't click, that's fine. But what drove me insane was that Amaya would ask these men directly, hey, are you uncomfortable with me being affectionate? Is there anything I can do to make our relationship better? And I'm asking nothing in return. And he'd just be like, no, you're totally fine.
Do you feel uncomfortable when I call you babe?
No, I know you're a very affectionate person.
Okay. Because like I know like we have a good communication.
Yeah.
And I know you're the type of person to like speak up if like something was to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Then have the nerve to complain about her behind her back? I don't think you're the one to say that Amaya moves too fast. Then we get to Casa Amor, which is usually one of my favorite parts of the entire season. The OG Islander boys and girls are put into separate houses. The women are finally free. Forget about their partners they've been with this whole time. Let's send in some new hotties who are solely there to tempt them away from their current relationships. It's supposed to be like the least serious time of the entire show. But this year, instead of just everyone being single in Casa Amor, everybody needed to couple up with a new Casa boy and Casa girl, and there were less Casa people than there were original Islanders, so for the OG Islander girls, there were only 5 boys and 6 women. So Amaya is left single and vulnerable again.
I'm a queen who knows her worth, so it's okay.
Amaya had 24 hours to steal a man from one of her friends. Meanwhile, people like Huda and Alandria, who, don't get me wrong, delivered great content, could just, hang out, be single for a whole week, and no one would ever think about them getting sent home. People, detractors really, say that Amaya cries too much, but I would have just broken down right then and there if that was my first Casa experience after weeks of dealing with the treatment from the Villa men. Even when Amaya wins, when Casa boy Zach picks her to be in a couple the next day, she can't even celebrate it because that means that her friend Alandria is then kicked out of Casa Amor. Every time someone gets sent home on Love Island, they do act like their friends are on the electric chair and they are the ones who personally have to flip the switch. But when these women thought that Alandria was going home, it was on another level.
Damn, you can hear them from here.
If y'all don't all act like this at my funeral, I don't want it. Of course, Alandria didn't actually go home that day, but they didn't know that at the time. I was fully ready to have Zach and Amaya be my Love Island winners. Let's be honest, Amaya could have coupled up with a plate of avocado toast and she still would have been my winner. And Zach gave me the tiniest bit of hope that Amaya had, I don't know, maybe found an ounce of joy in this villa.
He said, does anybody need drilling? And baby, did he drill?
Amaya asked Zach what his boundaries were because she was not about to get herself into another Ace babe debacle.
Like, what's your boundaries?
My boundaries, I'm pretty cool. Like, names is cool.
Yeah.
You call me anything. Like, I call a lot of girls like darling, babe,
Yeah.
sweetheart.
And Zach was like, yeah, call me babe. do whatever. I'm chilling. They bonded over how they were both caregivers, Amaya being the oldest sibling, a nurse and so close to her family, Zach, who grew up with a single mother and as the oldest kid felt responsible for his siblings from a young age. It felt like they had some real common ground. And when Amaya asked for a kiss, he said yes. We were all so happy that day. It's hard to even imagine how terrible things would soon become. When the Casa cast all comes back together with the Islanders, Amaya stayed in her couple with Zach. But as soon as that villa spot was secured for Zach, that man was a ghost. He was off with his boys, viewing in the corner. But you know, Amaya, you've got 2 legs too, so who are you to complain? Then the Islanders had the mailbox challenge, a fun new way for the Islanders to shit talk one another around the fire pit. So no movie night? One of the letters written to Amaya read that she cries too much. And yes, Amaya did tear up the second she read that out loud, but she's a sensitive gangster, and she owns it.
God forbid I'm a sensitive gangster.
Sensitive gangster! Come on!
Just when Amaya was saying that she views her vulnerability as a strength, she's emotionally honest, she gives her friends and her loved ones her all, Scrappy and Scooby-Doo suddenly got a lot to say. And they gotta let Amaya know that actually, you're wrong, you're crazy, you're obsessed, and I'm definitely 5'10".
The intensity of your emotions and feelings and wants.
When you saying, babe, can I grab this for you? Babe, can I do this?
I respect that. Thank you, guys, for sharing your thoughts.
Oh, Amaya, you're crying because 2 men are ganging up on you? Well, what if your partner Zach just also starts yelling his complaints about you, even though you just talked to him privately and he said everything was fine?
Sometimes I feel like I have to take a step back.
Zach, you had every opportunity to tell me that when we were sitting
have all that
on the
conversation.
field, and you did not.
Even when Amaya is out of the hot seat, Austin and Ace still can't keep her name out of their mouth.
Every time you relayed a feeling about how it is Amaya, it was not a great feeling.
Even since my situation.
And they have the nerve to get all pissy when she speaks up in a conversation about her.
This was a chance to air stuff out, Amaya.
All right.
Do you not understand what a chance to air stuff out is? Because
When the very next episode, Ariana reveals that Amaya is actually the fan favorite, meanwhile Ace and Austin are all the way at the back of the line, that was cinema.
if the pattern keeps on repeating itself and everybody's saying the same fucking thing, it's not everybody else.
Amaya.
Obviously, it's been a little bit rocky in the beginning, especially.
That wasn't in my parlay.
Amaya is better than me because I would have never shut up about that personally. Amaya may not be everyone's cup of tea, but as she famously says,
Guess what? I'm just not your cup of tea to be drinking, so don't fucking drink it.
and if Amaya had been on any of the earlier seasons of Love Island, I just don't think she would have been confronted by 3 different men while all but one of the other cast members sat in silence and watched. There have always been cliques on the show. I mean, this is a group of 20 people, not everyone can be friends. But the negative energy this season with the cast when someone dared to find love on Love Island this year reached unprecedented levels. We're not on Love Island anymore. We're not even on Friendship Island. We're on Survivor. And I fear 22-year-old TikTok live dance instructor Ace is our new Russell. Okay, let's be real. Even though Love Island is in theory about a bunch of people trying to find love, would we really be invested without a little bit of chaos? Something to keep the Islanders on their toes. Typically on Love Island, the original Islanders get into couples. Then a new single, a hot new bombshell, comes in and tries to break into one of those established couples. Then there's a recoupling where the Islanders must choose if they want to stick with their previous couple or go with someone else, usually alternating between the men and women picking. And that also ends up leaving 1 or 2 Islanders single and dumped from the villa. But Love Island isn't just that. There's also the public voting aspect where the public is asked to vote for their favorite couple, which sometimes means that the least favorite couple is kicked out. Or they'll have the public vote on their favorite boys and girls. The ones with the most votes are safe, but then they have to choose one of the bottom 3 Islanders to save. These public votes completely change the dynamic of the show in, for the most part, an incredible way. It is not just about if you're in an established couple on the show. It also matters if you're liked by the public. you're liked by the rest of the Islanders. There's been a lot of complaints this year when Islanders got to send people home because this cast is very much willing to eliminate people in happy relationships in favor of their friends, even if their friends isn't really trying. Listen, we know who some of these Islanders voted for in 2024. I guess we can't have the highest voting expectations for them either. And also, it certainly was not just the Islanders. The fans this year fully voted for a doomed, broken up couple to come in third place this year over like 3 or 4 actual couples that seem like they're gonna try and work things out after the villa. A strange year with voting, let's just say, and let's talk about this because this isn't necessarily a new thing, at least on the US version of the show. On season 6, for example, Leah, Serena, and Janae were a package deal and they were absolutely fan favorites. Leah was originally coupled up with this grumpy pair of overalls Rob, that is until Rob picked fights with Leah, cried under the pool ledge, and left her to couple up with the bombshell Andrea and talked shit about her to every other Islander in that dang villa. The next week, Andrea was in the bottom with fellow bombshell Nicole, who at the time wasn't super committed to her partner yet, and of course, Janae, Leah and Serena's best friend, who at this point had no real prospects in that villa because none of the men could appreciate the baddie that she was. When the girls chose Andrea to go home, even though she was the only one who was in a real dedicated couple of some sort, chaos ensued.
Andrea.
Sorry, dude. Please, no, bro.
You would think they were exiling this girl to Siberia. Now, you're sending 3 home.
So Rob, what's going on?
I'm leaving. You got rid of 3 tonight. Good job.
Well, obviously, Rob,
I mean, how could the girls pick Andrea when she had the strongest connection in here? Her and Rob knew each other for 3 whole days. This is extra funny because after all of that huffing and puffing, Rob fully stayed in the villa and actually never spoke to Andrea ever again. Regardless, the girls picked Nicole and Janae to stay, at least in part because Nicole and Janae were closer with the other girls, whereas Andrea and Rob were completely isolating themselves. And in that moment, fans cheered it on. It didn't matter to the audience that Andrea got sent home because most of the audience were not Andrea fans and wanted to see a bombshell come in for Janae. Friendship and fan favorites, they've always been a part of the game, even if it's not spoken. But this season, one friend group created their own super PAC, ruling this villa with an iron fist. And that is, of course, Team Rocket. Ace and his minions, Nick and Taylor, were all pretty much with their day one couples most of the season. Ace was with Shelly, and no, his time negging Amaya for a few days does not count as him exploring. Nick was with Sierra from day 2 until, recent events, which we'll get to, and Taylor was with Alandria up until Casa Amor. Even though none of them were closed off, none of them were ever seriously torn between a new bombshell and their current partners for more than a few minutes. The same goes for their partners, Shelly, Alandria, and Sierra. But if someone else this season dared to focus their attention on just one person, that's game. That's love bombing. And I do fear that that term really starts to lose its meaning when you apply it to just anyone who's enthusiastic about who they're talking to on a dating show. When Andreina walked into that villa, I mean, respectfully,
I'm taking your man.
No, yeah.
Me. And everyone knew it. All of the guys talked to her when she came in, but when Jeremiah flirted with her and kissed her,
He's exiting off everybody who's near him. Also, yeah, that's a friend. We just strictly friends. Zooming in on one person, and it's repeating a cycle.
The audacity. Truly. Jeremiah, when he first got on the show, was in the toxic relationship of the season with Huda, which is a whole other story we'll get to as well. But by that point, Jeremiah had moved on. He was in a friendship couple with Ira. Jeremiah was in the clear to pursue someone who was exactly his type that he had described at the beginning of the show. Are these two people who just can quickly see that they like each other? Or is this love bombing and manipulation on a level that none of us can even fathom? Sorry, Andreina, but we're sending your man home the first chance we get. Guess you'll just have to talk to us or something. And no, we will not tell Jeremiah why we chose to send him home. And on the girls' side, it isn't any better. Hannah Banana came in early with Amaya Papaya.
He has that little British accent that makes me want to tip tip cheerio, take my clothes off, you know.
And she really connected with Charlie. But she also, would you believe, wasn't locked in with Charlie after just knowing him for 2 days. So she also talked to Pepe before eventually deciding, no, she was going to stick with Charlie. Well, too bad, Hannah. Taylor might have zero interest in his current partner or dating at all so far on this season. Huda might be enduring stress that can't be good for her own well-being at this point in the season. But no, Charlie is out of here. You're not going to spit in his throat anymore. You hear me?
She spat down my throat.
But the girls tell Hannah maybe this is a sign. This was just your chance to see things through with Pepe, girl. We're just looking out for you. You're welcome. So Hannah does. Her and Pepe hit it off. They even talk about life outside the villa, which Charlie and Hannah never really did. But whoops, actually, Hannah, we're gonna send you home too. Because you know what? You got the chance to explore 2 great connections, and the other 2 haven't yet. Oh, Iris, you're in a strong relationship? Well, not anymore. And what is that? Is that Iris talking to Pepe, even though we just sent her partner home?
I told him shoot a shot, but it's just weird to me still.
Why do you think it's weird?
Because TJ was just here a few hours ago.
How strange. How deviant. We did tell her she should go for it, but can you even imagine? Love Island has always had a cash prize at the end. The way it works is the winning couple gets 2 envelopes. One person gets an empty envelope, and the other person gets the prize money. The person with the money can choose to keep it all for themselves, or they can split it. And they always present this as someone choosing between love and money, as if anyone actually stole the money, they wouldn't be immediately obliterated. Zero sort of influencer job prospects for you. They've always chosen to split the money. And the cash prize on the UK version is 50K, which, you know, is not an insignificant amount of money. Please put that in my bank account expeditiously. But on the scale of popular reality game shows, it's pretty insignificant these days. The US version does give out more. They give out 100K. Again, give me that. But this aspect of Love Island is never brought up until the last 5 minutes of the finale. Instead, the show puts a way heavier emphasis on, you know, finding a love connection on Love Island. Even if, you know, most of these relationships from these shows crash and burn right after filming. But this season felt different. First, on day 4, Jeremiah asked Huda if we win this thing after she told him that she was a mother. And I hate to make a Harry Potter reference, but saying the word win on Love Island is kind of like saying Voldemort. You just don't do it. It's like how every bachelor or bachelorette has to pretend that they accidentally applied to be on the show and that they never wanted to be the lead with like 30 hot singles vying for their attention. This year, it was couple after couple split up or sent home when it was time for the Islanders to vote. Even when they weren't breaking couples up, the people sent home, for the most part, played the game the way you were supposed to. They explored, yes, but they also seemed like they were open to finding a real connection. Yes, the social media clout was also nice, but really, it felt like everyone who had a shot at the finale in any other season was being systematically eliminated. The worst part about all of these people getting kicked off Love Island is that I just know Nick Viall was standing right outside their gate the second they landed in LAX begging for an exclusive interview, as if getting dumped wasn't bad enough. It really does feel to me like a lot of this year's cast was laser focused on making it to the finale. And if that means we have to kick out other couples with potential, so be it. Because it's also not just about this cash prize. The longer you're on the show, especially with how big it is now, at least in theory, that's more screen time you're getting. You grow your social media, your brand, and it just so happens that most of the cast this season are influencers. Sorry, I mean they're day traders, entrepreneurs, peer mentors. I'm not even someone who generally looks down on casting influencers. I think influencers can make good content. I think a lot of influencer cast members in the past have. But if the influencers are so career and brand oriented at the expense of the show, it's a problem. Unlike, say, The Bachelor, Love Island contestants don't usually spend their time stressing out about whether someone is here for the right reasons or not. It's not like these couples are getting married at the end of the show or even really expected to date at all beyond it. I think it's always just been quietly accepted on top of a chance to date a bunch of hot people. This is a paid vacation in Fiji where you can maybe come out with the crumble cookie collab at the end of it. It's not that serious. And honestly, I way prefer that than everyone pretending a reality dating show is the only way these people could possibly find a life partner. But the success of season 6 seems to have put the stakes of that potential influencer career on a whole other level.
So what are your long-term goals?
Like, explain.
Your goals long-term.
Love Island USA wasn't an obscure reality show by any means before, but only a handful of contestants each season would gain more than 100K followers. Serena herself said that she was a fan of the show before going on and figured being on the US version instead of the UK version, she could chill out and be herself and not really worry about a bunch of people watching.
So I know how popular the US is, and it wasn't very. So part of the reason why I went on and I feel like I can do whatever is because I'm normal and go back. I'm like, nobody's watching. I know, if I was on the UK, maybe I can act a little more button. But just the US, honey, I won't have that many eyes.
But with season 6, Leah became the first Love Island USA contestant to hit 1 million followers, an absolutely unheard of number at the time. They got their own Dunkin' Donuts commercial, spin-off show. Cordell got to fulfill his childhood dreams, and it was so beautiful.
So I definitely want to do sponsorships as well.
Like?
Cheez-Its. I can't get enough of Cheez-Its.
The success of the season 6 cast fundamentally changed the show, and especially it fundamentally changed the casting going into season 7. Spoiler alert, it was not for the better. There is just no way we're getting Megan Thee Stallion back next season because the entire budget now is going to go to CIA level background checks of these contestants. This season, we got a man who reposted Matt Walsh City has high crime rate because black people videos, coupled up with a Haitian woman, a farmer who wants a wife, Alvin and the Chipmunks. The casting for this season feels like the setup to a really distasteful joke, or, the most popular show on Peacock. After the mega success of season 6, I did not expect this season to top it or emanate it, even come close to it. I did, however, think that surely, with it being so popular, casting could get anyone that they wanted on the show. And yet, the casting this year was...
Who called the pool man?
No, really, who ordered him? Yeah, please step forward. Listen, it is hardly a scandal these days when a not just conservative guy, but a guy reposting transphobic and racist talking points gets on a reality dating show. Again, I watch The Bachelor. Honestly, if someone on The Bachelor does have an alibi for January 6th, I'm just like, oof. Good luck, buddy. But I gotta say, I do feel like there is some sort of political spectrum to dating shows. We've got The Bachelor way over on the right. Is this your right? Imagine it is if it's not. Then we've got the Lachey's on Love is Blind, giving hardcore, both sides have problems, I don't even care about politics, blah, 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 blah. And then I feel like Love Island tends to have more liberal fans and a liberal cast, at least on the US version of the show, because it does feel like there is a more conscious effort to cast people of color relative to other US reality shows. I think every version of this franchise has had at least one queer couple and plenty of out queer cast members. Several cast members this season are either second generation or even immigrants themselves. Even though politics is never addressed on the show itself, it is spooky to watch a man like Austin, who made his affinity for Trump very clear on his social media, zone out as Amaya talks about how proud she is of her immigrant family. And he just responds, yeah, I think being a dad would be cool. But don't worry, guys, he can't be racist. He has a black woman drinking a Frappuccino tattooed on his body.
Because this is crazy. But, are you fucking dumb? Honestly, are you dumb? Do you not think? I have a black woman tatted on my side. Use your head.
Dude, the way no one cares about Austin's rancid political posts, people on TikTok just being like, oh, He's so head empty. I bet he didn't even know what he was reposting. OMG, he liked a comment that said vote blue next time. Y'all, just because you find this man entertaining, that doesn't mean he's a lost puppy. Like, he is a 25-year-old man, okay? We don't have to do all these extra steps. Or when a guy from Scottsdale who follows Andrew Tate on Twitter negs all of the supermodels who just kissed him.
We were kind of off rhythm a little bit, but I'd probably give it like a 7. She came in a little too aggressive, so I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Well, at least that plan immediately blew up in his face.
Dogged my kiss.
No, listen, listen. I need to explain to you.
You dogged
listen,
it.
listen.
Like,
At least I didn't give you all y'all like 2.
Even Nick had a TikTok up joking about Chinese people eating pets. The digital footprint this year, really not great. It is no secret that on that end, this year's casting was a chop. The season hadn't even aired yet when people on Reddit found not one, but 2 different instances of cast member Yulissa dropping the N-word on a podcast. To be honest, maybe Love Island just needs to start hiring people off Reddit, because you're telling me that the casting team couldn't find this? There is this conspiracy theory going around that production did know that Yulissa said those slurs and put her on anyways because they knew she'd be drama or they'd get a headline out of it. Personally, I don't really think that they needed to kick off a woman wearing chopsticks in her hair in 2025 to get press for this show. This is literally the most talked about reality show this year. But to my surprise and to Love Island's credit, within a day of Yulissa entering the villa, production swooped in and literally in the middle of the night sent her packing. She didn't even get to eat her undercooked pancakes. She was out of there, never to be spoken of again. The way they announced that on the show, I genuinely missed it.
Welcome back to Love Island USA. Yulissa has left the villa.
And didn't actually realize that she was gone until Ace mentioned that he was newly single near the end of the episode. Well, at least she gave a heartfelt apology for those videos she made years ago, November 2024. But I guess one slur scandal wasn't enough for the season, because 5 weeks into the show, screenshots resurfaced of Sierra saying an anti-Asian slur on her Instagram story in 2024, and another time just fully on her Instagram feed back in 2015. At first, I only saw the screenshot of the story, and I genuinely wondered for a second if it was photoshopped. To be clear, it did not shock me that an influencer would spew anti-Asian slurs or rhetoric. I just would have expected this to come out when she was first cast on the show, not 2 weeks before the finale, because this screenshot wasn't new. It was posted in 2024 and horribly inappropriate and wrong when it was posted in 2024. This instance was just so openly terrible, I couldn't believe that we hadn't heard about it earlier somehow. Not only did Sierra use the slur, she used the slur to describe how she doesn't like when her eyes resemble common Asian eye features. Like, it's not even a dog whistle, it's like a whole train whistle at this point, from an influencer who lives in LA. I can kind of understand why some people originally thought these screenshots were photoshopped by Nicolandria shippers, people who wanted Sierra's partner Nick to break up with Sierra in favor of Alandria, because it just seemed so unsubtle, but there it was, and it certainly was real. Once this story broke, people of course rallied to get Sierra off the show. Most people went about that the normal way, commenting on Love Island USA's Instagram account, DMing them, making a petition. A few decided to call ICE on Sierra's family. Jesus Christ. You would think it goes without saying weaponizing racism against racism isn't it. Keep in mind that the show was nearly over at this point. Sierra was a bombshell on day 2 and had basically been there since the beginning. She was also coupled up with Nick essentially from the moment she came on. Even though they were not the strongest couple on that show, they were basically guaranteed a spot in the finale, kind of by default. There were not a lot of strong couples to root for this year. Sierra had already been losing followers before this scandal broke, because over that span of episodes, people thought Sierra was acting like a mean girl. The only thing worse than being a racist on Love Island. For a minute, a lot of people thought that Love Island was just going to ignore this whole scandal, with Sierra being so integrated into the show at this point. It was logistically way easier to pull someone off the show like Yulissa on day 2 when they barely knew each other. We were on day 28 at this point. The next episode after the scandal broke, Sierra was there, but she was barely featured. Even when she did speak, her audio was cut off in favor of other islanders.
Why did you guys want to put Pepe in second?
He makes pancakes for everyone.
But then Love Island posted one of her confessionals on Instagram, and by the next episode, her and Nick were back to talking about their doomed situationship in Soul Ties. They may be closed off on Love Island, but don't you even try to call me your boyfriend, Sierra. Understandably, this got a big reaction from fans because if Love Island truly planned on just editing her out of one episode, then moving on, the double standard for the use of one slur versus another seemed pretty apparent. But by that Sunday, Sierra was also kicked out of the villa.
Welcome back to Love Island USA. Sierra has left the villa due to a personal situation, leaving Nick officially single.
Some people say that you can hear her yelling in the background of Olandria's confessional around the time that she would have been asked to leave.
He's so cute, right? Am I tripping?
It's like a Ghost Adventures EVP. All things considered, if the news broke that Wednesday, they assessed the situation, verified the posts were real, had the 4th of July holiday, then told Sierra to leave right after their filming break on Saturday, I think Love Island responded fairly quickly. And again, if this story screenshot was just sitting on someone's phone, it wasn't necessarily something Love Island could have found on their own. That being said, I'm pretty sure the original Instagram post where that word was also used was just at the bottom of Sierra's Instagram page. That particular post was old, but it was publicly available in recent history. Feels like a lot of heartache on everyone's end could have been saved if Love Island casting had just checked her Instagram post before putting her on a show viewed by millions of people. And also, I do think it's worth mentioning that not everybody is on social media and not everybody knows that that's why Sierra and Yulissa left the show. And hey, crazy idea, maybe contestants using racial slurs that you are against, that might be worth actually addressing directly instead of pretending that they just left for personal reasons. Dating shows have always been such a mirror of modern dating, and call me crazy, I don't think the horrors of finding your first date's digital footprint after the fact needs to be replicated on this scale. Easily the most talked about person this season was Huda Mustafa, the 24-year-old single mommy from Raleigh, North Carolina.
I'm a mommy.
Mommy?
I'm a mom.
Mamacita.
No, I'm a mommy.
This is not the first time that a single parent has been on Love Island. Actually, I think the first season of Love Island UK, OG Islander Rachel was also a single mother, but she was dumped only 11 days into the show. On season 3 of Love Island USA, Andre told everyone that he also had a kid. What he left out of that story was that he was still married to his then ex, who was pregnant at that moment with his second kid, their first together, and within 6 months of him leaving Love Island, they tore up their divorce papers and posted it all to Instagram. The things men will do instead of go to therapy, I guess. So single parents are not unheard of on this show, but it's also not the norm. I think this is in part because this is one of the less serious dating shows, so a lot of these contestants aren't even looking for real relationships, let alone looking to commit to something as consequential as being an active figure in a child's life. But Huda seemed fortunate to have a good co-parenting relationship with her daughter's dad, and he was happy to take care of their daughter while Huda went on the show. I personally was down to see a single mom have fun and find love with the rest of the cast. Since Huda was an OG Islander, they needed to establish the new couples. This year, they did this by playing a game where the women would choose 2 men to make out with and then pick their guy from those 2. And if they went after the other women, they could also steal a guy who was already in a couple if they wanted to. It's like horny white elephant. Huda picked Jeremiah to couple up with, and even though these 2 met must have been 30 minutes ago, they were immediately in deep. They were holding hands, they were giggling, they were cozying up. And when Yulissa went to kiss Jeremiah, Jeremiah dodged her kiss.
I'll give you a kiss on the cheek.
That's fine.
Of course, the Islanders didn't know. Viewers knew that this was the woman who casually threw out slurs on a podcast. So Jeremiah was probably doing himself a favor in that moment, avoiding getting stolen. But this choice to seemingly not play this incredibly silly game would only send us down a dark and harrowing path. The first few days that these two were coupled up, they really matched each other's possessive freak in not a great way. On day 2, the couples were blindfolded and could choose to get up and make out with someone not in their couple without their current partner knowing. And these are, again, people who've known each other for 24 hours. If Alandria wants to kiss someone tongue first, we should celebrate it. And I do personally. Even though Huda didn't get up, Jeremiah was immediately convinced that she was lying and had gotten up, which again, if she did, who cares?
Where'd you go?
No, I didn't get up.
You didn't get up?
No.
Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
I said you really stayed.
What do you mean?
Like in your...
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I did.
Oh. I would have threw myself off the balcony.
Yeah, it's a bold statement, Jeremiah. And it didn't help that Jeremiah's #1 hater, Ace, was stirring the pot.
I mean, she said she didn't, but...
Ace was obsessed with rage baiting Jeremiah, and Jerry fell for it every time.
Not saying you that guy. I'm just saying, like, how would you feel like if you were in his shoes?
And then on day 4, the group went to play horny baseball, as you do. All the women had to choose their top 4 guys to make out with, while covered in slime, butter, and ketchup. Notably, none of the OG girls picked Jeremiah. That is, until Bombshell's Hannah and Amaya walked into the game. Mind you, Hannah and Amaya were only shown the first episode. They did not know just how possessive Huda and Jeremiah already were with one another. But even if they had, this was day 4. They were not closed off, they were not exclusive, and the whole premise of the show is for bombshells to come in and test, maybe even break up pairings to get to better ones. To Huda though, these women had ulterior motives.
I don't like her. I don't think she's nice. I think that she has ulterior motives, and I just don't with it.
I'd love to know what the ulterior motive was. Is wanting to date people on Love Island ulterior? Or did she think that they were here for like money laundering purposes or something? Almost instantly, Amaya and Hannah backed off talking to Jeremiah. Even though Huda did apologize to the girls, to me it felt like part of her apology was maybe coming from the fact that these women weren't really a threat to her anymore, and less about like the genuine reflection. I say that because the next time a bombshell came in, Huda was breaking her back to call Iris a bitch.
Bitch, if you don't fucking quit it right now, thank you.
It wasn't just that Jeremiah and Huda were possessive though. These two egged each other on in the worst way possible.
You need to eat all of your food.
Why?
Because you're a man. You need to finish it.
Okay, Mom. What the fuck? I can't listen to you when you're tired because you gaslight me.
Start claiming me, maybe I'll
claim you. Shut up. I claim you since the day. How many guys put you for a chat? Thank you.
Like say, for instance, the pancake incident.
You should thank your boy Taylor. He helped me with like my breakfast today.
Okay, what's your point in saying that?
I'm just saying.
Okay, cool, for sure.
A historical event. One morning, Jeremiah made Huda pancakes.
Oh, no protein for you?
No. You realize we all gotta take a turn on the stove, right?
But no protein? Come on, Jerry, she's a fitness influencer. You know better than this. But even worse than that, the pancakes that Jeremiah made were not cooked all the way.
I feel like it's not cooked all the way. Yeah. No way. Yeah, today's not cooked all the way. Oh shit, don't eat that.
Was he not even trying? Or worse, was he intentionally trying to give Huda salmonella? And the thing is, the only tone Jeremiah and Huda have when they confront each other is passive aggression.
You may not agree with the pancake thing, whatever.
Okay.
And I get it.
It's not even something for me to agree on because why would I think someone's making you pancakes when I already made you a pancake? And the fact we're still talking about this is kind of nuts.
I'm not bringing it up again. I'm saying in general.
When I tell you that there was a solid 48 hours where all Jeremiah and Huda were fighting about were these damn pancakes and how they were both symbolic of how selfish Jeremiah was and how combative Huda was.
I was wondering perhaps if the miscommunication about the pancakes was in you trying to push me away because. Okay.
You're missing the point. It's not about pancakes.
Yeah. No, I know it's that.
You're missing the point.
No, I know.
As James from Vanderpump Rules would say, it's not about the pancakes. And you think these two egg each other on? How about the rest of the Islanders? Hell, the audience even. When America was given the chance to split these two up and put Iris in a couple with Jeremiah, despite Iris and Jeremiah having no romantic spark, by God, we took it.
Jeremiah.
What? Okay, that's messy as what the
Yes, officer, it was me. I thought that these two needed a sign that maybe they should separate and they would be better off not together. I thought it would be messy, sure, but I did not anticipate the turn that would take. Poor Iris, man. She was just America's sacrificial lamb in that moment, being sent into an absolute war zone. And somehow, both Jeremiah and Huda thought that America was saving themselves from the other person.
Clear to America, it's clear to people in this villa that you've done things or done subtle things to show that you're not as interested.
I think you have it flipped. I think you have done unhealthy things that I...
So you think America hates me?
The most toxic version of that Spider-Man meme. Despite Huda swearing in the shower that she was done with Jeremiah, that her husband would never, because Jeremiah didn't comfort her right after they were split up. Jeremiah sprayed his cologne on Huda's bed. Why? The next day, Love Island sends Iris and Jeremiah on Huda's dream date.
What was the date?
It was just like sitting down like on the beach.
My dream date. Cute. And he knows that.
You know, say what you will about Huda's behavior, especially on that episode, but she delivered with the sound bites this year. That's where things really escalated. Huda eavesdropped on Jeremiah's conversation with the boys, where he said that now he wished that Huda had actually gone home that night.
Truthfully, now in hindsight, like I'd rather Huda have gone home just because of the way she reacted.
And that's when Huda starts stomping around, cursing Jeremiah out in front of everyone about him and his little scapegoat too.
He's using her as a fucking scapegoat? Fucking bitch!
Come sit down.
He's over here playing victim. You're a pussy ass bitch.
Huda ran up to ask Iris just what happened on their date. And the guys Iris was sitting with were so worried that things would escalate that they went and got trusted adults to supervise this conversation. At this point, Huda was hysterically sobbing for what looked like hours.
Everything he said was a lie. No more tears for later on tonight, okay?
And that's when I thought to myself, maybe this environment just isn't safe for Huda anymore. Like, people get angry on the show, people cry, but at this point it felt like we were watching someone genuinely in distress with no signs of getting better. But the hard thing was that if Huda left the villa that day, on the outside, she would have come out to an absolute firestorm. Huda was public enemy #1 in the fan base. And while I personally didn't like a lot of her behavior either, as fans do, they took it to an extreme level. I saw people diagnosing her with schizophrenia or BPD. People made memes which included Huda's actual 5-year-old daughter who, hey, has nothing to do with the situation and is a child. Even Huda's baby daddy was getting harassed to the point where he had to make a public statement asking that people leave him, their child, alone and understand that Huda is just a person that he doesn't want to see getting hurt in this way. There is a very real history of Love Island contestants suffering through mental health episodes after the show, and even cases where Islanders have taken their own lives. Because Love Island is an hour of content every day, I think people get way more attached to the Islanders than they do even other reality stars, and that parasocial drive cuts both ways. What makes that even more dangerous is that the show is basically filmed in real time. When you film Love is Blind or The Bachelor, you go off, you film, you have a few months to unpack all of that by yourself. And then the show goes public, which is overwhelming, but at least these people are more removed from whatever the audience is freaking out about. Here, when the Islanders go back to reality, they are instantly one of the most talked about people in the world. They have no real time to process their feelings because they're being asked to do podcast after podcast. If you're the villain, quote unquote, of Love Island, it is really easy to get overwhelmed with just the vitriol of it all. Love Island has tried to rectify this to some degree. Contestants are given media training prior to going on the show, and on top of the on-site therapist, they're offered up to 8 sessions with a therapist after going on the show. It does seem like after this day, Huda was set aside for time with the on-site therapist. I don't know that for sure, but her demeanor did change pretty drastically after this episode. And even if there were still times where she got upset later in the season, it wasn't reaching that level of panic or anger that we saw before. She was still kind of mean to Iris that one time.
He told me that she is not his type, he's not attracted to her, and that he does not want to sleep in the bed with her. You know what? Enjoy it. Your safe option. Your scapegoat.
But it was again more in the range of what we would expect from Love Island contestants. Since that time, Huda has had a redemption arc of sorts. The good and bad news about Love Island fans is that people have short-term memory. And a lot of people stopped thinking about Jeremiah the moment they saw Huda twerk for Megan Thee Stallion. And I get it. I still don't know how she managed to twerk with her legs up in the air like that. Personally, I feel like Huda's redemption, so to speak, won't really come until after the show, when she actually gets a proper amount of sleep, gets to go to therapy, gets to actually process everything. The second half of the show, there were times where she'd still be in the wrong.
Like if I was ugly, would it make it better?
No.
But also times where she was kind of done dirty. And I think overall, with Huda, 90% of the time I understood her feelings. Where Huda went wrong, almost all of it was just her reactions.
You are the reason why everything happened. You're the reason why I acted the way I acted. You are the reason.
Even though I think Huda still has communication issues on the show, she's far from perfect, I'm glad that she got to leave the show, at least with the fan base who does see her as a person, not just all of the negativity. Because none of these people deserve to be attacked for a silly dating show. And in fact, I think Huda should be personally thanked for giving us this incredible moment where a singer singing Moon River interrupted this incredibly hostile breakup conversation between Chris and Huda.
Because I've repeated myself.
But I have too, and I'm still willing to do it.
That is television. That is cinema. But one of the most persistent attacks we've seen this season amongst the Islanders, but especially with the fans really, is the thought that these women aren't girls. Or worse, that they're mean girls. For a very long time, the foundation of reality TV was women being incredibly catty and cruel to one another for our entertainment. We didn't want to see camaraderie. We wanted to see Teresa flip a table.
Receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, everything to prove that you are a bully and a troll.
But over the past few years, there's kind of been a shift. Yes, we still want to see petty arguments, but also seeing a sisterhood develop in an environment that is designed to create animosity, people realize that that actually is really compelling television. We're not in the 2010s, not like Other Girls era anymore. Women want to see a woman in media who celebrates other women instead of tearing them down. And for the most part, I think that that shift is a really great thing. I do think, however, that sometimes categorizing girls as girls or mean girls has just become a more creative way to police women's behavior. A lot of times when a girl is labeled a mean girl, not a girl's girl, that just seems to open the floodgates to way more, often women, being genuinely hateful towards these women in their comment section because it's justified. They don't support other women, so we won't support them. On season 6 of Love Island USA, we saw genuine lifelong friendships blossom between Serena, Leah, and Janae. These women were a unified front that were not afraid to put men being toxic or a mess in their place. and back up their girls. The relationship that formed between these women was just as real, meaningful, and complex as the romantic relationships they formed on the show. To me, it's what really defined the season. But the natural chemistry between these women is hard to recreate, and it's a lot more than just blindly hyping up the girls around you. Right at the start of season 7, from night 1, Huda called these women she just met her sisters. Olandria and Bella that night in the dressing room said that they were so happy to be surrounded by girls and that they should all stick to the sisterhood to the end.
I feel like today proved to me that you're like one of our sisters.
Girl.
And I was like,
Let's keep it real between all of us girlies.
Sisterhood means so much to me. So I thank y'all for being so nice, so open-minded, and just being a girl's girl.
But the issue is, they're basically all in one sweaty, sleep-deprived polycule with one another, where it's kind of impossible to avoid stepping on each other's toes. We saw this even with the first elimination. My sweet Beldasha, was all in hoping that Nick would pick her to couple up with. To be honest, the captions for the first few episodes were terrible, so I had no idea what sweet Beldasha was even saying half the time.
Fourth base is the best, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, that's back to where we at.
But the thing is, she wasn't just interested in Nick. She was also interested in Taylor, but she didn't explore that connection because, in her words, she's a girl's girl.
Are you wishing you explored with Taylor a bit more?
Yeah, so it's really tough thing having loyalty in my blood and being such a girl's girl, because Alandria is one of my best friends in that villa, and that, like, my loyalty to her really stopped me from even wanting to explore things with Taylor.
Bella's heart was absolutely in the right place. But, like, that's the show. You're not a failure of feminism if you talk to a guy and he ends up liking you more than your friend. As long as you're open about it, I think it's all fine. Honestly, that was a problem with a lot of the couples this year. It seemed like a lot of people watched last season and only remembered Serena and Cordell. Like, those two barely ventured out of their day one couple, and they went to the end. They won. This year, it felt like everyone was afraid to be the villain and change up their couples. Nick didn't talk to Alandria, even though he always had a thing for her. No one talked to Jeremiah because they didn't want to upset Huda. Then, when Huda felt threatened by women like Amaya or Iris, they had ulterior motives. They weren't girls.
How did you feel about earlier in the room when she was like, I'm gonna
I think she's messy. I just already don't like her. Iris moves so weird to me.
You think so?
Yes. She hides everything from the damn get-go. She's over here, I'm a girl's girl. No, the f you're not.
Never mind the fact that Huda was more than happy to speak poorly about them in that moment. When Huda talked to Chris, even though Shelley was also interested in him, Huda was a hypocrite for being the self-proclaimed girl's girl of the group.
Do you think you've been following girl code when it comes to Chris and Shelley's relationship? Are you a girl's girl?
Even though Sierra, Shelley, Hannah all seemed visibly annoyed with some of Huda's behavior early on, they would only offer the most gentle pushback they could give to her face. It really felt like the sisterhood was afraid to actually check and confront each other until it all boiled over in the last part of the season, where suddenly Sierra, Shelley, and Alandria had a lot to say about Huda to her face, but also a lot more to say about her behind her back, which we all know is the least girl's girl thing that a woman can do.
Who was his heart rate up for?
It did make me a little bit uncomfortable.
Huda.
Wait, Huda raised his the most? Yeah. Ooh.
Part of what is forgotten about PPG is just how much they did fight. When Serena told Leah that she thought Leah was faking her relationship, Leah said, I thought you were my girl. Why are you saying that?
You're my girl. What was that?
I know exactly. I'm your girl, so I know you like that toxic shit.
What about this shit? Huh?
Oh, we're real.
Are you?
When Leah said that she still thought Rob was hot after all of the tears she shed over that man.
How handsome that man looks. I have to go home and straight to therapy.
Serena was not afraid to show Leah how she felt in that moment. Or when Janae and Leah just made straight up jabs at each other in the dressing room because they both pursued Connor.
Yeah, you're hella busy. Janae, you're already well aware of this situation. I don't know what more I can do at this.
That's why you don't have to tell me. You don't have to talk about anything. We're good. Don't talk to me. It's fine.
Grow up.
They were willing to be honest with each other if it pissed the other person off, because sometimes a friend's gonna call you out on your nonsense, and maybe they won't even go about it in the nicest way possible.
That's not your boyfriend.
Did I say it was my boyfriend?
You're acting like it.
You're literally making I'm not.
No, I'm not, and I don't give a
PBG was way messier than people are remembering. And when we weren't caught up in keeping the girls score, the show was way more entertaining. Remember when Serena got mad at Janae because Janae brought Miguel 3 different types of eggs while Miguel and Serena were talking?
Now's not the time, Janae.
I know, I'm so sorry. I made him eggs.
When every girl in the villa got so heated arguing the difference between took a back seat and tried to take a back seat, Janae revealed that the producers had to sit the OG girls down at one point and lecture them because they were refusing to talk to or be nice to the Casa Amor girls. The women on season 6 fought. They could be petty. They got angry. They weren't always in the right, but they talked it out. They made up. And the audience still was able to root for these women, even if they didn't act perfectly every second that they were in the villa. These women aren't all bad or all good. And if they lash out in an environment designed to stress them out, maybe that's not indicative of their entire relationship to womanhood. It's so clear that this year the audience did not give that same grace to the women. It felt like the women this season could go from fan favorites to getting mass unfollowed within a span of one episode. Instead of movie night this year, we got that mailbox challenge where these islanders just went at each other for 6 whole hours. Of course, as the audience, we only saw maybe 20 minutes of the most heated exchanges, but that was more than enough for BuzzFeed to post a photo suggesting Shelley deserved a knuckle sandwich, just an actual brand piling onto the hate train, quite literally evoking violence against Black women. Meanwhile, the men's at times rude or toxic behavior was forgotten the second they had a goofy confessional. You can be critical of how people act on the show. I mean, the whole premise of the show is to see people in crazy situations and judge the way they navigate that with other fans from the safety of our own couches. But hey, let's just not flood their Instagram comments with hate. Don't DM the person running their Instagram, harassing them. And also, maybe just take it all with a grain of salt that everyone on the show is going to be messy, going to slip up, and these are just like influencers hanging out in Fiji. None of it's that serious. Even Ace, that devious little trickster, he drove me crazy sometimes this season, but y'all gotta give him his producer credit, okay? He gave us content. He gave us something to discuss. Excellent reality TV requires people putting themselves out there, and they simply will not be inclined to do that if they know that there's a virtual angry mob waiting to dox their grandma if they so much as side-eye a fan favorite, especially when they don't even know who the fan favorite is the way that you do. Also, hey, you know, they're like human beings and there's just a baseline of human decency that they're owed. It's actually just way more fun to watch the show if you're not still obsessing over the shady things someone said on episode 2 when we're all the way into episode 30. You could really be spending your time doing what really matters, watching Nicolandria edits on TikTok and maybe checking out the UK version, because I heard that this year that one was much better. Also, as much as I've harped on the cast this year, I think so much failure came down to production and them simply just doing too much. The girls didn't get to just stand up and pick someone to couple up with until truly the end of the season this year. Instead, we got these knockoff Jubilee game show Monsters Inc. doors that everybody had to stand in front of, or Olandria and Nick got sent out of Casa Amor, but Nick and Olandria are fan favorites, and there's a big Nicolandria fan base, so we can't actually send them home. We need to send them off on a romantic date and send them back into Casa. Even though Huda and Jeremiah's relationship clearly is dead in the water, we're going to actually quite literally split them up with Iris through the public. At every single turn, it felt like production was doing the most to get drama out of these people, when I felt like they were already providing that drama on their own. And I really do hope that that's a lesson that they've learned from this season, because the UK version has not had that same problem this year, and it's been getting so much more positive feedback. I feel like the UK and US versions are cursed now to forever alternate between one being good and one being bad. Like, they can't both be good at the same time, and they constantly need to sort of be ripping off one another to try and evolve into the perfect show. But we will get there eventually. I do have faith. And those are some of, definitely not all of, my thoughts on Love Island USA Season 7. And if you want to hear even more of what I thought about this show this summer, I did weekly recap live streams with my patrons, and the VODs are still up if you actually want to know everything that happened in this villa, every minuscule piece of drama we covered. It is wild to look back at those VODs and see just how much my opinions changed day to day, week to week watching that show. And of course, I uploaded plenty of other bonus videos up on Patreon if you want to check those out too. But if you don't want to do that and you're annoyed at my self-promo, that's fine. That's cool. If you liked this video though, you could feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.